Welcome back. A Beautiful Resistance, a celebration of Black voices, Black joy, and the lives of many other people of color is now in its third season in the Boston Globe. Here's a look.
It doesn't matter who's standing next to you. That's what Black love is.
That's my guy right here, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It is fluid. It can be between friends, it can be between family.
Black is beautiful, who I am is beautiful, who we are as a people, as a community and culture is beautiful.
People will say, you work with your sister? And I'm like, I can't even imagine my life without my sister. What are you talking about?
The show is about love. It's about precision. It's about claiming space.
And joining me now is Janae Osterheld. She is a culture columnist and the deputy managing editor for culture, talent, and development for the Boston Globe. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So, Janae, when you launched A Beautiful Resistance back in 2020, the world was in the beginning of the pandemic and also dealing with the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. How did these events inspire what you decided to do?
It was absolutely the birth of A Beautiful Resistance. I was in Minneapolis at George Floyd's funeral. And between being at his funeral and being at the intersection over by Cup Foods and seeing kind of the despair, the isolation, but then also the beauty. There were sunflowers everywhere. There were artists. There were people really coming together, as the NAACP would say, to thrive together, to survive together, to hold space for each other. And it just took me back to hearing songs of my childhood like Joy and Pain and, you know, Joy Comes in the Morning. And that's how A Beautiful Resistance was born. I called my editor and said, I will continue to write stories of injustice and to fight for Black folks, but creating space for our joy is part of the fight too. That's
right, because there's the other side. Because you've often said that too often Black people are only shown in the media in the suffering, in the anger, in the mainstream media. And the mainstream media has been criticized for doing this, but showing joy, you think, can be a catalyst for change?
It has to be. Joy is absolutely, there is an intersection between joy and justice. You know, love is the ultimate language of liberation. And if we're only covering stories through a lens of brutality and pain, we're not telling the full truth of who we are, and we're not standing in our full beauty and in love.
Now, recently in Florida, you're a woman of letters. I want to ask you about this. Recently in Florida and other places across the country, there have been efforts to rewrite history, the role of slavery, to ban books, and the teaching or trying to not teach the history of race. What are your thoughts on this as a journalist?
You know, all of this is intentional and cyclical. America has been trying to indoctrinate citizens of this country into supremacist thinking and erase the truth about who we are, where we come from, and how this country works for always. And now there is enough people in power banning books, stripping away a history. Think about it. When countries go to war, one of the first things they do is burn a people's art and burn their books, because if you
destroy their culture.
If you can strip away the truth of a people, then you can overpower them, you can dominate them. So us fighting for true education, us fighting for the truth as journalists, us holding space for books, even fictional books are being banned, and that's because if a people can imagine themselves as anything other than what they're told, then they can one day imagine themselves to be radical change makers. So they want to kind of damage the imagination, damage the fantasy, and also damage the truth of how powerful and beautiful and strong we are. And also, slavery has never benefited anyone. That is a lie.
Yeah, how do you use the pen to fight that kind of thinking?
So many ways. As journalists, we have a responsibility to make sure we are amplifying the voices of the people who are being denied space. We have to make sure we're lifting as we climb. We have to make sure that not just the stories we're telling individually, but the stories of the companies we work at are doing right by truth-telling, by accountability work, by investigative work. And we also have to be in partnership with the little guys. So it can't just be us holding the mic. We have to know what it means to share that space. If you take space, make space.
Yeah, so it can't just be the mainstream media, the Globe, Channel 5. It has to be other media outlets as well.
Yeah, it has to be Spark FM. It has to be Java with Jimmy. It has to be the Bay State Banner. It has to be the multiple immigrant media outlets we have.
And certainly as the city becomes more of color, it's more important to let those voices, let those stories rise up from those outlets.
Yeah, this is not a white city. This is a city that's been complicit in a narrative of whiteness. So until we make space to let those voices of color rise and let their truths be heard and hold folks accountable, we're going to continue to walk in falseness.
Tell us more about how you engage the community with A Beautiful Resistance.
Oh, I always ask everyone what their beautiful resistance is, as I'm asking you. We do live events at the Museum of Science that are free quarterly. We do activations in different spaces and screenings. We're going to be at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival next month, having an event with Say Adams, who is the founding creative director of Def Jam, and also has an episode in season 3. And hopefully we'll do an event with Java with Jimmy in late September in Globe Summit. So we have a lot of activations coming, and you know, each episode is not just a visual episode. There's always a deep dive written story, a Q&A, and an Instagram post, and that's very intentional so we can create points of access.
Who else are we going to see in season 3? Tick off some names for us.
Allison Feaster, the Vice President of Player Development and Organizational Growth for the Celtics. We'll see the Sisters of Roxbury Film Festival, Lisa and Allison Simmons. We have a young basketball player from my HBCU, Norfolk State University, who is from Roxbury, who will be in this season. And I'm very excited because we actually let the students of Norfolk State help direct and produce this episode.
That's great.
Java with Jimmy is in this season.
And he'll be in our next segment?
Yeah, so we have lots of beautiful Black voices. The Myrnavator in Vermont, Myrna Valerio, is also in this season.
I can't wait. It's always such a pleasure to have a chance to read it, and of course a pleasure to have you here to chat with you.
Thank you, and thank you for all the space you make for us.
Thank you, Janae. Everybody, Janae Osterheld is a fabulous culture columnist and the deputy managing editor of the Boston Globe.